With the potential of there being a record number of offensive players taken in the 2024 NFL draft, could the Detroit Lions defender come in the second round or later? Now, a lot of us have Kool-Aid McKinstry coming off at 29, or potentially even Darius Robinson coming off at 29. But what if the Detroit Lions, what if Adam Schefter is right? And even there's a record of 20 or more players taken in the first round. And then you have the 12 left, right? Are the Detroit Lions going to take a defender? But what if they take it would be a surprise to me if they take a offender. But what if they do? What if they take an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, which is one of the two positions, I think, the only two I think that would come off in the first round for the Detroit Lions? Would that mean that a defender is going to be in the second round? Now, remember, the Detroit Lions don't pick because they were one game away from the Super Bowl. They were actually the third team standing, but for whatever reason, they were eliminated before the Ravens, but complications and all that stuff. However, they come up with this formula as to how the Detroit Lions wind up picking before the Ravens at 29. And then I think it's the Ravens, then the Niners, and then the Kansas City Chiefs being the eventual Super Bowl champions. But either way, the Detroit Lions are picking in the bottom four of the first round. Now, what does that mean for the second round? Well, there's a guy who is on his way to the Detroit Lions, I believe either today or tomorrow, a second round prospect, Marshawn Kneeland. This came from Mike Garafolo yesterday. Says a lot of buzz lately for Western Michigan edge Marshawn Kneeland, who has one of the busiest pre-draft itineraries you'll see. He visited the Texans. Lord knows they don't need any more help. Vikings, please no. Buccaneers, Panthers, and Colts this week. Part of a 16-team visit schedule for the late first, early second rounder. And then we go up here. This was retweeted with some additional context from Ian Rappaport. Says the final three visits for Marshawn Kneeland are Lions, Bills, and Packers. We do play the Bills this year as well. Comes this week. One of the players known far more to teams than to the media. Now, with that being said, I've been hearing some things to touch on Ian's last point. I've been hearing some things, the same as you, that this guy is kind of catching a lot of people's attention. Not enough maybe to shoot up into the first round, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, right? We went from Trayvon Walker being nowhere near the top 10 in 2022 to all of a sudden, we knew 3 weeks before the draft that this like mid to late first round, even second round draft pick was going to be probably the first pick. Now, so anything could happen. But let's take a look. Let's go to Draft Buzz, NFLDraftBuzz.com, and let's look at some things about Marshawn Kneeland from Western Michigan. Now, I'll pause this here. You can take a look at his measurables. I mean, you can pause it if you want. The colors here will coordinate here. So obviously, he is elite in wingspan. Doesn't look like, and hands, he's below average. So his worst trait is his hand size. And his best trait is his wingspan. So you can use this little key down here in order to figure out what, he is elite in, okay, and so on and so forth. Now let's go down here. What I noticed right away is he ranks 84th in the 84th out of 100. Offensive rating 77, tackling 70, 79 for pass rush, run defense 83. So not too shabby. Draft projection, a third round pick. So now you're talking about even further. The Detroit Lions pick early in the third, I believe it is. It's like 72 because we have the Minnesota Vikings pick. So it is possible that Marshawn could fall past 41 and still be sitting there at 72. That should be intriguing. But it was something I wanted to take a look at real quick and kind of point out for you. One of the things, you can pause this screen here, or you can go to NFLDraftBuzz.com. I will link their website in the description. This is probably the thing that stood out to me as far as something that could attract the Detroit Lions to him. High motor, player capable of achieving coverage sacks and maintaining high performance throughout games. Reminds you a lot of somebody that we already have. This here, these two words together, high motor, are something that the Detroit Lions are very high on. And then obviously down here, you could go at his weaknesses. Doesn't have a ton of them, but I think the biggest thing here is faces challenges in maintaining point of attack when positioned with hands down, highlighting a need for strength conditioning. You also have struggles with hand usage in pass rushing. Sounds like Broderick Martin. Needing refinement to effectively disengage from blockers. That is going to be something too. Lacks elite athleticism with a tendency towards clunky movement with limited burst off the line. I'm reading this little itty bitty text because of the fact that my screen is black. And because I have, you guys know, I have the light, it's shining right on the corner of this screen and it makes it hard to see the corner. So if I was to try to read this, the far left is unseen. I can't read it. So I would have to get away from the mic in order to read it. So with that being said, I'll let you read the scouting report. I would highly encourage you to go check out NFL Draft Buzz. And like I said, it will be in the description. You might have to scroll down a little bit until you find it, but it will be in there. So with that being said, NFL Draft Buzz has a 3rd round pick. We're picking 29, 61, 72. But I'm not sure he makes it to 72. He might not even make it to 61. Now, Tankathon has him coming off at 65. That will be after the Detroit Lions pick at 61, assuming they stay there. So if the Detroit Lions do decide to go offense in the 1st round with either a wide receiver or an offensive lineman of some sort, could they look into a guy like Marshawn Kneeland with that 2nd round pick? And if he were to make it past there, then you would be playing that game of between 61 and 72. But could we see this? Reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? So if you go back to the 2021 NFL draft, if I remember correctly, we're in the 4th round. The Lions take Derek Barnes first, and then we immediately trade up and take St. Brown. So I'm assuming we wanted Derek Barnes over Amon-Ra St. Brown, which, I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? So then we come immediately back right after that, and we take St. Brown. So Detroit, assuming they go offense in the 1st round, or even if they don't, even if they go defense and they decide, you know what, we're going to chance it at 61. Then we don't pick for another 11 picks. They could do something like they did in years past and come up and get a guy like Marshawn Kneeland. I'm going to tell you what, I just want somebody, a quality edge rusher. That's all I want. I don't know how quality you're going to get picking at 29. Like I said in a previous video about a George Karlaftis type of, Epinesa was a 2nd round pick as well. So you could get a guy with potential. And I think that's kind of all we have right now. We have a guy that's potentially going to be good because our opportunity for like that high round 1st rounder is off the table. That ended last year with Will Anderson Jr. Not to say that a late 1st, early 2nd couldn't be effective. I just want to see somebody. This is what I feel like. I feel like we're in a position now that we're going to take a late 1st, early 2nd. They're not going to be on the level of a Aiden Hutchinson, but they can help him more than anybody else on our team. I do believe that whoever we take and at the late 1st, early 2nd will be the guy who bookends Hutch. It might not be right away. They might put in Davenport. You never know. We still have training camp and who wins the job. I mean, for all I know, it could be James Houston. I mean, real talk, right? So, but I think that whoever we draft in the late 1st, early 2nd, and if I don't know if this guy makes it to the 3rd, but if he did, even if we took him, I could see him being a guy that could be an anchor for the future. Might take some time, right? But listen, we gave Broderick Martin, we traded up for him, and it's already year 2. So, I mean, if this guy wakes half a season, so what? I mean, this is where I'm at, y'all. I'm just here with the pass rush. Just give me something, Brad. That's all I'm asking. Give me something. Now, I mean, because there's nobody coming out in the next year's free agency that I can, off the top of the dome, say that I want as far as a pass rusher. They're all gone. They're all locked up. All the defensive tackles locked up. Every last one of them locked up. Like Akon. They locked up. Josh Allen locked up. Danielle Hunter, will I want him at 32, whatever he is? He got a 2-year deal anyway, so he's off the table. Brian Burns off the table. Josh Allen off the table. Like, so whatever we're going to do is going to start here. And I would even put it past Brad. Maybe he gets 2. I don't know. Maybe Betts is a practice squad guy. Maybe Davenport doesn't even make the team. I mean, what if we get 2? What if we get a Darius Robinson or somebody late first, and then we come around and we don't take that person, another defender at 61? Maybe we try to slide 72, or we get, wide receiver, cornerback, safety at pick 61 and then 72, or we do some type of trade up, and here we are, right? So I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Marshawn Kneeland coming up the draft boards. Like I said, I don't see him sliding into the first, but he could be a guy that is sitting there in the second, quite possibly at 61, maybe not, but we shall see. I know that first pick will tell me a lot as to what the Detroit Lions, what I think they're going to do, what direction I think they're going to go in. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, this website, particularly his profile, will be in the description below, so check it out for yourself. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.